This is a can I, should I video. And these are mostly going to be questions that would be great for your lender, but just surface level, I'm going to address these a little bit as a real estate agent. So, question number one, can I buy a house with student loans, student loan debt? So, having student loans does not disqualify you from purchasing a home, but it does change the conversation a little bit. Every scenario is different. We have to look into what your specific situation is, but just because you have student loans does not mean you cannot buy a house. So I encourage you to ask the questions and see if you are a candidate, because you probably are, even though you might not think you are. Oh, the age old, we have to have 20% down in order to purchase a home. So that's question number two. Can I buy a house if I don't have 20% to put as a down payment? Short answer, yes. You can buy a house without 20% down. There are so many paths to home ownership. And some of them have interest rates as low as like 3.5%. There are zero down options if you're someone that qualifies for some specific situations. So, again, always ask what your options are, because there are way more options than people lead you to believe when you're just reading stuff on the internet. I think that sometimes fear of getting a no holds people back. And so I want you to find someone that you trust that can help you delve into these things so you can see what opportunity you do actually have available to you, instead of just shutting it down and not ever looking into it. My biggest passion and drive in doing this work is that I want to see people investing in themselves, and I want to see people live the dream of home ownership. We now know that the average age of first time home buyers is 40. Obviously, this has changed so much in the last couple decades. Affordability has, the disparity between income versus what it takes to own a home. But I want to see people able to make that dream come true. And there are some creative ways we can do that. So just reach out to those people that you know and trust and ask them to help you. Should I buy a house by myself or with a partner? I think that this all depends on your situation. Sometimes it's not feasible to purchase a home if it's just you on the loan by yourself. And so you need to bring someone in. But a careful consideration here is that this can create some tension and stress on the relationship. So if you're not in a place that the relationship feels that it can be tested in this way, I would encourage you not to do that. But if you're in a place where it feels like something that's doable for you, and you have had the conversations prior to purchasing a home on how this is going to be handled, having this huge investment with this large monthly payment, because we know that money creates stress in relationships, it's really important that those conversations are had beforehand. Owning a home brings on a whole new level of stress, not with just the finances, but also just the maintenance alone. And so it's really important that all those conversations happen beforehand. I again want to say that having a trusted real estate agent on your side is so important, because they can help you talk about things that are going to come up as a homeowner, so you can start navigating those things before you've actually signed on the dotted line and committed yourself to being in that situation. This is not to deter you at all. This is just to be like fully prepared and ready. And as you know from my other videos, I am all about trauma informed care. And I want to make sure that we are going through this situation not feeling traumatized at the end of it all. When it comes to investing, can I buy a house and then rent it out later? And simple answer is yes, of course you can. Some people don't want to commit to where they're purchasing that home because they may not want to live there forever. The long answer is, what is that going to do to your ability to purchase another home in the future? If you have a home that becomes a rental, a long-term rental, there are certain loan programs that allow you to offset a portion of the rent that you receive from that from your debt to income ratio. These are specific nuanced scenarios, though, that need to be talked with your lender about. Your real estate agent can kind of give you, again, the surface level information about this, but you're going to want to talk to a lender about your specific scenario to make sure that you would be able to qualify for renting out the home that you currently have and what your numbers look like as far as a purchase goes for your next home. The biggest downfall with holding onto a property is that you're not going to be liquidating your equity, the money that you've made by holding onto this home for over the 3 or 4 or 5, 10, however many years. So that equity is often what people will use when they go to purchase their next house as their down payment, so that they are not borrowing as much from the bank. You've now lost that if you hold on to the house that you have and you're wanting to just rent it out. So those are all considerations that you need to take into account. Do you have money for a down payment in your next home? If you don't, then your next home, you're going to be financing more, which means higher payments. Can you afford that? So there are a lot of like details that really need to be considered when it comes to that. But again, the short answer is yes, you can hold on to your house and you can rent it out before buying your next home. Question number 5, should I renovate my house before selling it, before listing it? That's going to be a great question for your real estate agent, and I would highly recommend you have them come do a walkthrough and give you a list of things that you should or should not do. GFCIs that aren't working, you want to get those fixed. If you have any safety, security, health items that need to be fixed, take care of it before you list your home. Changing the countertops from Formica to granite, probably not the smartest investment. Anytime people are wanting to do these big upgrades to their home, I at times let them know that like you're not going to get the return on that investment. Yes, it's going to look prettier, but you'll not see 100% back on that. The other issue with that is that every buyer is going to have their own style, what they like. And so you may be spending money on something that's just going to get ripped right back out because that person that is buying your home doesn't like it. Roof redone if it needs to be redone. But again, anything that's like cosmetic, those are things we're going to like, those are just very subjective things that we would not want to end up putting money in, not get the return. And I can tell you from experience that having your home being remodeled while you were living in it is tough. I love watching the stages of it. I love being involved. I love design work and I love just having like full oversight on what's happening. But it is not for the faint of heart. It is a stressful situation. And doing that right before you put your home on the market and are going through a big move might not be the smartest idea. Again, I'm looking at trying to eliminate or alleviate as much trauma as possible when we're going through any sort of home decision making and moving, and I would err on the side of caution when it comes to doing a large renovation. Should I wait till I'm 100% ready to buy a home? Question number 6. I don't know that there ever comes a time where you feel 100% ready with any large decision in your life, and that's okay. I think that sometimes you have to play through some scenarios, almost like literally play through them, make an offer on a home and lose that home before you really start feeling whether or not this is the right thing for you to do. It's really challenging to know and feel confident in making the right decision. So, making sure you have someone on your side that supports you and is going to take time with you without letting you miss out on opportunities, but just being really mindful of that. Taking some time is okay. Not knowing 100% is okay. That is all very normal. And it might not feel okay all the way up until you're at the signing table and even moving into your new home. It's a big decision and it should be treated as such. But I also want you to know that the risks that you are taking, there will be great rewards on the other side. So the biggest thing is just make sure that you're feeling supported by your real estate agent and your lender and whoever your team is, and that they understand your apprehension or any of the feelings that you're feeling, and that you have an opportunity to talk through them. That's the most important part. The last question that we get is, should I buy the house that's like the smart house or the one that I love? Should I go for that one that is like pulling at my heartstrings or the one that maybe is just the safe option? And I would say that's a great thing to be doing some soul searching on, because ultimately the difference in getting the safe option and the one that you love might mean that there's going to be a lot of work that you need to do. If it's your first home that you're purchasing, it might be a better idea to go with the safe option. Live in that home for a while, build some equity without having to have all the renovation work done and all the extra maintenance that you'll need to do on top of just the standard maintenance. But I also do want to consider that your joy and happiness is really important. So if you're going to be uninspired and bored in a house that is the safe option and something that has more of an opportunity for projects and making it your own is what inspires you more, then that's something that should be. So I would just encourage you to do some reflection on this and make sure you're also communicating with your agent about how you're feeling. The biggest thing when it comes to something that maybe you love but has more work that needs to be done is just having your inspections and making sure you are fully knowledgeable of everything that you might need to do in the near future on that home, so that you're not going into it blind and you are just feeling fully prepared. Hopefully I was able to answer some of your questions, since these are the most common ones. I will see you on the next video.